Let me tell you a story about how an FBI agent used her cougar cooch for good. In a forest, a lady in lingerie, Rita, is running away. A lurking man named Nate follows to catch her. Almost free, she runs only to be blocked by the big back man. To defend herself, she twists his big tits, but he punches her and she falls unconscious. In the city, Victoria walks to work, radiating a Nene Leakes vibe that has the men catcalling her. A man named Langston Reed sees her and approaches. His thirst is too powerful that he asks her out to dinner, but she declines. Kobe, her son, appears to meet her. Then suddenly we hear some very fitting background music.
She's a cougar, yeah, she's on the prowl.
Well, hey, man.
The two leave Langston, but his thirst is too much that he can't help but stare at her booty. At the trafficker's cage, Rita is crying, so Langston checks on her. Rita apologizes for trying to leave, crawling in fear. He consoles her and tells them to take a bath. While Big Mama Myra leaves the cage, he handles her double chin to confess the truth. She snitches that Langston's brother Nate has been clapping Rita's cheeks for weeks, and they used it as a chance to escape. Langston confronts Nate about his shenanigans, but he tells him that these girls are their products, so he is just sampling them. Langston tries to assert dominance, but Nate tells him,
Gonna kill me over some cat? That ain't even that good.
At the mall, Langston sees Victoria again. He confesses that he is attracted to her despite their age gap, so he insists on taking her out to dinner. She hesitates as she doesn't want to be called a cougar, but she gets his number. Apparently, Victoria's twice his age, but Miss Girl either looks real young or he just aging like milk. At Langston's lair, Nate brings skimpy clothing to prepare the girls. While picking clothes, he asks Rita for a quick in-and-out action, but she refuses as she is still mad at him. The buyers are greeted by the brothers. One of the buyers, Larry, scoffs and jokes about the brothers sampling the ladies. Langston gets angry and asks if Larry wants to see their girls or not, which they proceed to check. The goons go to the cage and see Myra. Larry's impressed by Myra, so he immediately says he'll take her. Having attachments to Myra, Langston decides to cancel the order, which gets Nate riled up. Larry gets angry with Langston's bad business behavior, so Langston negotiates to provide a future 2-for-1 deal. He accepts the deal and leaves. Myra is thrown back into the cage with everyone.
What happened to Myra?
Damn, Myra deserves an Oscar. At Langston's office, Nate confronts Langston about their bad business performance, but Victoria calls him for dinner. He shoos Nate away because he is excited to score on some cougar clamps. Unbeknownst to him, Victoria is planning to play games with him. Later, Nate goes to procure more girls. He swerves the mayonnaise since she's aging like raisin, and goes for Sierra. Before the date, Victoria spends time in her car, watching over Langston at the restaurant while on a call with her boss. She assures her boss that
I'll have him eating my spaghetti.
the date is a huge success, and on their next date, Victoria gets to pick the next location. As she goes to her car, he starts to contemplate why he is obsessed with this woman. Nate hangs out with Ciara in the van, relaxing on the side of the road. After a while, Ciara wants to get things going, but Nate decides to punch her for some reason. She walks out of the car and asks the oncoming car to help her because she was attacked. Unfortunately, it's Langston. Nate acts like it was a lover's quarrel, so Langston pretends to move back. When Ciara is looking at Nate, Langston uses a chloroform-drenched handkerchief. Langston gets angry with Nate for hurting their potential product. Nate carries the sleeping beauty, but gets impatient with carrying her, so he decides to twist her neck instead. Langston sees and is disgusted. Back in the cage, the girls get annoyed with Myra's crying.
Bitches don't care about nothing but your goddamn self.
When they get back to the lair, Langston sees that they have limited merchandise in their cage. He tells Nate to stop killing their product. After that, Nate informs him that Larry is telling potential buyers that the brothers are flaky on business deals. At his Temu throne, the girls are massaging a drunk Langston when he moans Victoria's name. Threatened by their new competitor, the girls look at each other. Myra asks who will join him in bed, but he tells them that he'll sleep alone. At the police station, Kobe enters the room where they hold a secret meeting about human trafficking led by Director Patel. Yes, that's her name. Maybe she married an Indian man. Kobe shows a picture of one of the operatives involved with the crimes, but they haven't gotten any names yet. They only have the images and initial information from their anonymous source. At Victoria's house, Victoria asks about Langston's family. He says he only has his brother now since they left their father, and he doesn't have kids. Victoria uses her Cougar massage technique to lure Langston into a kiss. After being dominated, he pulls away as he feels vulnerable with her. She reaches out for another kiss, but he decides to run away. She guides him to the door, but Langston cannot resist the pull of the Cougar cooch, so he goes back for that. The next day, Victoria regrets topping Langston. Her boss calls to ask why she did the topping. Apparently, the boss was watching via CCTV. She gets angry because the boss fires her for sleeping with Langston. In the cage, Langston pretends to give Larry the BOGO deal. He grabs Larry and demands him to stop talking crap about their business. Larry continues to tell him about their horrible business practices, so Langston punches him in the stomach and bans him from buying from them. Nate confronts Langston about his behavior. Other buyers heard what happened to Larry, and their reputation as a business is plummeting, especially since Larry is one of their top customers. His stubbornness and pride prevent him from listening to his brother, so he just walks out. Langston calls Victoria because he keeps thinking about being bottomed, but she won't answer him. He goes to Victoria's house to lurk outside to stalk her and sees that Kobe leaves the house. At night, he parks his car in Victoria's garage and barges into her home to watch her change into her granny panties. Victoria is surprised and explains why she never called back. Feeling the danger from Langston's obsession, Victoria rushes towards her cabinet for a weapon, but Langston overpowers her and chloroforms her. At the cage, Nate asks the girls if they saw Langston, but they just trash-talk him. So he tries to enter the cage to WWE the girls. Seeing the commotion, Langston appears carrying Victoria. He then tells Nate to go away. Kobe goes back into Victoria's house, and he notices that their front door is unlocked and his mother is not there. He realizes Victoria left her phone, so he calls Director Patel to inform her what happened. Kobe enters the police conference room and questions why the police are not looking for his mother. Director Patel informs him that his mother is their undercover informant who's been getting intel for them, and the kingpin of the trafficking ring, Langston, has kidnapped her. At Langston's house, Nate asks why he brought a cougar into the house and what his plan is to dispose of her, but Langston confesses that he has fallen for her, so she will stay. Nate asks if he got topped, and he admits to it. So Nate tells him to get rid of her because her cooch game is too strong, and it can destroy them. Victoria wakes up in the cage. She urges them to fight for their freedom and leave, but Rita tells her that she tried it once but failed. Nate brings them the skimpy clothes. The girls, except Victoria, prepares to be presented to Langston. Nate tells Victoria that he is aware that she used her high-level clampers to manipulate his brother.
She put that voodoo pussy on him. Gave his ass that spirit box.
Bitch, I know you didn't.
The girls get jealous because her clam is better than theirs. After they prepare, Nate tells the girls to meet Langston in his room. Victoria uses Muay Thai elbow to attack him, but he manages to pin her down. Langston enters and saves Victoria. Langston places her back in the cage due to her disobedience. He feels guilty because he loves her. The police are investigating when one of the FBI agents found a lead. A few days ago, Ciara's neck was twisted by Nate, hoping to end her, but she has plot armor. So Kobe's crew rushes to get Ciara's testimony. In the cage, the girls are preparing for a shower when Nate brings a buyer to the cage. Nate is about to inject a tranquilizer into Victoria, but she tackles him and runs. Langston is getting a massage when Victoria runs inside Langston's room, and Nate catches her. He tells all of them to leave. Outside the bedroom, they listen to the clapping. Kobe and the crew go to Ciara's house. After a while, Ciara gives them Nate's address. One day while enjoying the pool, Rita says she was once trafficked before, by some white trade. Director Patel and Victoria barged in, and the white man held Rita hostage. Victoria doesn't hesitate and shoots the white P. Diddy. Afterwards, Langston tells Victoria that he's going to end his business soon. At the cage, Victoria checks with Rita if she likes being with Nate and Langston. Rita, having Stockholm Syndrome, has fallen in love with Nate. Victoria asks her about the trail in the woods, and Rita says she'll show them the trail as long as everyone gets to escape. The next day, Victoria brings juice to Langston in his bedroom. The two hang out, and she offers the juice. After drinking, Langston feels sleepy. She gets a gun and goes back to the cage. At the cage, Nate is distributing the girls to their new owners since they're having a going out of business sale. Suddenly, Victoria enters with a gun and tells one of the goons to untie the girls and tie his fellow goons. Nate tries to persuade Rita to help him, so Victoria smacks Nate to shut him up. Rita gets concerned about Nate, but Victoria tells her to leave him because he's big-backed anyway. The girls rush on the trail, but Myra's big back is slowing them down. Victoria tells her to rest there, and she will get back to her after saving the other girls. Myra distrusts her, so the dumb broad goes back to Langston. Langston wakes up and appears carrying a gun. Nate tells him that Victoria is an FBI agent, but he cannot accept it and starts to tweak. He starts to kill them, and y'all, they didn't even have the budget for fake blood. Myra goes back to show loyalty to her daddy, but she gets yeeted into the afterlife as well. Victoria goes back to the cage only to see Myra's dead body. The other trapped people escape and tell her to leave, but she stays to mourn Myra. Rita and Xena get saved by Kobe's team. The FBI conducts a sweep of the trail, but fails to find Victoria. Director Patel tells Kobe that they cannot find his mom, and they can't enter the house for some reason. She says they don't have a warrant, but honestly, that sounds like Tubi logic. Director Patel says it's time to go. Kobe gets mad, but follows the order. Victoria is in the woods looking at the FBI agents, but doesn't scream for them for some reason until the FBI leave, and then she shouts to catch their attention, and Langston manages to capture her. After a while, Kobe continues to search for his mom when Rita calls to tell him the address where he can pick up Victoria. Nate orchestrated the call to end Victoria's relationship with Langston so they could continue with their trafficking business. Rita got back with Nate, and Kobe is just crying on the floor. Is Victoria alive? Has human trafficking ended? Maybe we'll know if there is a part 2, but please God, don't let there be a part 2. What did you guys think of this hood rat mess?
Hey, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe now and turn on the notification because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. And if you like to watch more foolishness, click here or here.